can you say you've got the game's most naturally gifted player against the game's most amazing player? Tonight, we can say that as Stephen Hendry, 7 times world champion, takes on defending champion, the Rocket, and 3 times world champion, and our first game should be a great evening. We're going to meet the boys in just a sec, but first here's a quick reminder of exactly what happened last week in Aberdeen.
You can't get a better quartet than the one we've got tonight. We're in for a treat.
What a great start.
$2 grand in the hand.
Looks in the mood this evening. I think he's missed them.
2 frames played. Sean Murphy has spotted 1 ball. 23% table time. That's what you call being kept cold.
Again, overhit. Perfect shot. This is top draw. Absolutely relentless. Sean must be wondering what he's done wrong. A trademark long red. This is a good response from Sean.
His first frame of the night.
What a pop. Okay, Ronnie, you've had your time. Now it's my time.
Eventful frame.
Sean Murphy coming back here with a vengeance. Back to back. He will not be enjoying this now. He's got the Reds here at his mercy. I think it's all over now. This has been a quality match. It really has. Well played.
The best shot of the night so far, that.
There's a chance to steal this opening frame.
The black for first play. Rush the shot a little, and Hendry back at the table.
It's a great shot. Now he can win it. Well played. So far, so good. This is frame ball.
Yes, just the reply he needed.
And all of a sudden, John switched into gear.
John Higgins draws level.
What a great pop.
From 2-0 down, John Higgins has moved 3-2 ahead.
What a shot that is. This is a good response here from Stephen Hendry.
It's the end of the match in unusual circumstances. The Scots share the spoils.
Yeah, honours even between current world champion and 7 times world champion. A win for the Rocket, and that's how the current Premier League looks at the moment. Judd Trump not in action tonight, but he'll be pleased with 2nd place. John Higgins not playing, but Stephen Hendry, a win to him, puts him right up there. Mike Hallett, former world number 6, has joined me. Good evening, Mike. We'll talk very briefly about last week before we talk about tonight's matches. The Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan, a win again last week, but still not happy with his form.
Yeah, I mean, he got off to a flying start at 3-0. He really kept Sean in his chair, completely shut out. Sean came back at him strong, and I think Ronnie, really, to be honest, is happy to go over the line at 4-2. Could have easily come out 3-all.
And talking of 3-alls, the other match, Stephen Hendry was 2-0 up against John Higgins, then went 3-2 behind, ended up sharing the points. Who will be happier out of the two going home after that match?
Well, Stephen, without doubt, because I did take John Higgins for that match, just because he was in the form he'd been in the last couple of weeks before that. Stephen would have been delighted to be 2-0 up, but I think he would have been a little bit disappointed to let it slip at 3-all.
OK, let's move our attention now to tonight's matches. 2 great matches, as always, in the Premier League. Let's be fair, we've got the 7 best players from around the world. Our second match, Sean Murphy, 2005 world champion, up against Marco Fu. A must-win game for both players.
Yeah, it is. And last week, I couldn't really say how Sean was playing, because Ronnie had played that well in the first 2 or 3 frames there. But Sean did come back strong, and like the true champion he is. But we know that Marco can turn it on as well, and I think that's going to be a very, very interesting match. That could go either way. I wouldn't like to predict that one, really.
OK, and first up, even more difficult, if you like, to predict, the Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan, defending champion, up against the game's greatest player, Stephen Hendry.
Well, Stephen won't need to get himself up for this one, that's for sure. I suppose the bookies will shade Ronnie on this one. Everybody in the arena probably shade Ronnie on this one, but you can never discount Stephen Hendry, and I say he will be up for this tonight. I think we're in for a cracking 6 frames. OK, well, you certainly can't discount Stephen Hendry, 7 times world champion. He's been there, done it and seen it. Let's have a look what the bookies actually make of it, because it's interesting reading.
Ronnie O'Sullivan against Stephen Hendry. It's a 3-horse race. Obviously, we can get the draw. Ronnie, odds on 11-4 on the draw 3s. And Stephen, look at that, 7 times world champion, 7-1. And Sean Murphy against Marco Fu, a lot closer, 6-5 and 9-4. But 7-1 for the 7 times world champion. That's worth a fiver at least, Mike, isn't it?
Well, it's worth more than a fiver. That's a fantastic price for Stephen Hendry this evening, and we shall see what happens.
Okay, we will indeed. Let's get on with the show. Time to meet the players. As always, introduced by our brilliant MC, Mr. John McDonald. And first up, it's the greatest.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're live at the auditorium here in Grimsby! The PartyCasino.com Premier Snooker League brought to you by Matchroom Sport, and we're live on Sky Sports, bringing you 6 planes of action. Our referee in charge is Mr. Paul Collier. It's time now to meet our players. It's now time to meet a legend. Ladies and gentlemen, from Scotland, 6-time Premier League champion and 7 times champion of the world, ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Hendry!
How's your form at the moment, Stephen? You happy with it? Let me ask you this. You're the most decorated player in the game. Okay, you've won the world title 7 times now. Do you ever get nervous even now when you're playing games?
Yeah, I think you've got to have a little bit of nerves, a little to sort of G you up and get you going. No, you do get used to coming out and playing in front of crowds like this. But obviously playing the best player in the world at the minute, so you've got to be a little bit nervous.
You played Neil Robertson in the Premier League this year. That's your 5-1 win. He won the Grand Prix this season. You played very well at the World Championship. You got to the last 8. You knocked in a 147. In your opinion, how close are you to the Stephen Hendry of the 90s?
Well, it's hard to stand here and say I'm very close because I'm not producing the results. But I know that if I win 2-3 matches, end up in the semi-final, I know that I'm well capable of winning tournaments. But it's as I say, it's easy to say that. I've got to get there.
Played 3 in the Premier League, won 1, drawn 1, lost 1. Toughest match you think so far tonight?
Yeah, I mean this is Ronnie's tournament, isn't it? This is the pipe and cigar underneath the table. So he's the man you've got to beat.
Well, a bit like Davis and White were. You and Ronnie are quite similar. And in the 80s, Davis had a game plan. He used to slow Jimmy down. I know it's difficult with the shot clock, but do you have, when you come out here, do you have an idea of how you want the game to go? Do you have a game plan?
The only way to play Ronnie is if you have to take your chances. If you get a chance, you've got to take it, and if you don't, just forget it.
Okay. I think it's going to be a great one. Best of luck. Stephen Hendry, everyone. Thanks, Stephen. And Stephen's opponent is the Rocket.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, he is the reigning and defending Premier League champion and 3 times champion of the world, simply known as the Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan!
Good to see you as always, Ronnie. I've sort of done my homework on it. I think I've got this right. A win tonight, basically, barring anything silly happening, could put you into finals weekend if you get a win tonight.
There's a long way to go. I've still got 3 games to go, and So you just got to keep foot down right to the end. You know, it's great playing in front of a packed audience and live TV on Sky. So you know, every match you play in this tournament is like a final.
Every match you play against Stephen Hendry is always huge. When the fixture list for the Premier League came out, did you look down it and think, Grimsby, can't wait?
No, we always, always like coming here because you get some, good crowds and they're enthusiastic. But everyone you play in this league is a top quality player. But obviously Stephen, comes out on top of everybody because of obviously what he's achieved over the years. So, he's obviously the man in snooker history, if you like. So it's always a big game playing Stephen, and that's probably why it's difficult, because when you're such a big fish, everybody wants you, even when you're maybe not getting the results that you're used to getting. So everyone just seems to raise their game because it's a feather in their cap.
Your opponent tonight, as you said, has been there, done it and seen it, 7 world titles. You've got 3 at the moment. Still time for you to get another 4 or even 5, do you think?
I'd be happy just to get to the quarters the way I've been playing lately, let alone win another one.
Well, let me ask you this then. What Ronnie has turned up tonight? Because I tell you what I ask Ronnie, whenever we speak at the end of a match, irrelevant I think, and I think the guys think how you played, you always, I didn't play well. If you win 6-0 tonight with a maximum in every frame, will you still stand here and go, didn't play well?
It's not even about that. Sometimes, I've had 5 centuries in the game and come off the table and thought, I didn't really feel comfortable over the shot. And sometimes I've come off and made 4, 5, 60s and 70s, but felt great over every shot and just felt in total control of your game. And at any moment in the game, you felt like you could just step up a gear. And that's all you're looking for, is that contentment within your game. That if someone does play decent against you, then you can step it up a level and win in second gear. At the moment, I'm having to feel like I've got to find form to win games, and you can't keep doing that. You've got to try and win a lot of games in second gear if you're going to have any consistency. And I found it a couple of years ago, and last year it went, and this year not as bad as it was last year, but a bit of improvement, I suppose.
Okay, well, give us a shout. We'll help you look for it if you don't find it. Best of luck. The Rocket, everyone. Ronnie O'Sullivan. I'm looking forward to this one. Let's join our boys in the box. Mike Callaghan first up, the brilliant Clive Everton.
2 all-time greats in opposition, arguably the 2 all-time greatest. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 3 times world champion in the noughties, versus Stephen Hendry, 7 times world champion in the 90s. And as he so often does these days, O'Sullivan, a natural right-hander, breaking off left-handed. You may have heard what he said just now about feeling comfortable over the shot. Sometimes he feels more comfortable left-handed than right. O'Sullivan's break off left O'Sullivan a possible, left Hendry a possible, but the proverbial mile out.
Well, blue to the corner is on, but he's also looking at the pink here. Ooh. Well,
Ronnie
unexpected.
O'Sullivan, 1.
Well, no one expected that. Perhaps thinking just a little too much about the cannon.
It's a clever shot. Stephen could have played the straight away, chose to nudge that red away from the black. Might play a little stun into the bunch here, leave himself on another red. Well, controlled cannon, not quite perfect, but he's okay.
Eight.
Well, as you saw, Stephen Hendry did say at the top of the show, you've
9.
got to take your chances against Ronnie, and here's one of them.
Gifted to him. Didn't have to pot a long one to get in.
And Ronnie did have that cracking match against John Higgins in the Grand Prix, Clive, but overall, you know, like we said, we've seen from him, he has been struggling a little bit this year, Ronnie. Hasn't quite found top gear yet.
Well, struggling by his standards. He still won the Shanghai Masters, and he only lost 5-4 to John Higgins in the last 16 in the Grand Prix. He's undefeated in the Premier League, but of course he sets himself such fabulously high standards.
Absolutely, and a lot of the other players down the list would take that already. Meantime, Stephen in here, of course, and hoping that this will be a winning contribution. Well, a little short on the blue. He would have liked to have probably got into the pack, but we just drop this in for the right-hand red now. Could go down for the one in bulk. No. Well, just wants to leave himself a good angle on the black to get into them.
36.
Well, this looks a little straight. I think he's got some angle, actually. Well, he's going to have to power into the reds. Well, that will do nicely.
Great shot. 44.
A lot of backspin on the cue ball there. You just see it go again once it hit the red. Oh, he needs to slow down here. Well, pink,
45.
There's always a little bit of insurance there.
Well, as it's turned out, yes, but I'm sure Hendry never dreamt that he wouldn't be on the black. Grossly overhit, his positional shot was.
Well, the table last week in Aberdeen, Clive, was absolutely flying. It really was fast. And it took the boys a little time to settle into it.
51.
Couple of frames or so. The cushions were very responsive. It was like an ice rink on the bed. Oh, he's got a kick. He's got a massive kick, and it's throwing the red off.
Hendry, 51.
So Hendry has not clinched the crown at his first opportunity. Very unlucky to get that kick, though. You make the point about getting used to the table, Mike, but both players have had a bit of practice on it.
Well, these boys prefer a faster table than a slower one. They adapt so quickly. Doesn't take them too long. Oh, a nice deft touch there from Ronnie. Stephen looking to put the cue ball back on the top cushion, I feel, here behind the black. Looks pretty good. And he's got the white tight to the cushion, so Ronnie's shot choice limited here. You can't take the cue ball down the table. Well, this has got to be dead weight on the red. You could leave one on. And he has one to the green pocket.
More difficult than it would have been had it been straighter.
Yes, Ronnie just slid off the reds, enabling Stephen to take that on. Still a good pot. Oh, now then. Has he landed on this red? He has.
8.
That's a bonus.
Nine.
Well, he should make sure of the frame now. He's got a 59-point lead, just a couple of reds required.
$16. $17.
O'Sullivan missed an easy pink at the start of the frame and has never got into it since.
$24. Stephen Hendry 24 on the frame.
So largely through the break of 51, Stephen Hendry leads Ronnie O'Sullivan by a frame to nil. Just the start he wanted. Stephen Hendry leads Ronnie O'Sullivan by a frame to nil. Sean Murphy and Marco Fu are on later.
The second frame. Stephen Hendry to break.
This is Hendry's first competitive appearance since a very disappointing defeat to Mark Williams in the Grand Prix in Glasgow. That was a match in fact, where Hendry was so disappointed with his own performance that he issued an apology to the ticket holders.
That's it.
1.
Good angle to try and nudge some reds here. Well, he won't like that one.
$8.
I can only play a safety. And he didn't want to cannon the blue.
Ronnie O'Sullivan,
It's
8.
not too bad. He hasn't left anything wrong.
Does the back red go to the left corner?
I was just thinking that, Clive. I said he's not left anything on, but he's just been round to have a look at this one. Will it go? No. White's close. Makes all the difference.
Good safety.
Oh, what a shot that is. I mean, it had to be fun, but just look at that. That is absolutely top draw. Appreciated by this vast crowd in here this evening in the auditorium. Stephen needing a similar shot. Well, he's played one as well, although the red has gone over the corner pocket. A little nudge on the green help though.
It's not only a large but a very knowledgeable crowd here at the Grimsby Auditorium. This is one of snooker's heartlands. It's got a great league here with several divisions. It's produced some very fine players, including my colleague Mike Hallett, once the world number 6, and also former world number 8 Dean Reynolds, who we might get a look at in a moment. Oh, well, a long way out with that long pot, and could be serious. And there is Dean Reynolds, right of picture, and we're very pleased to see him because he had a stroke last April, and although he's still suffering some after effects, he's pretty well all right, I understand. Mike, you spoke to him this afternoon.
He is we met up on the train on the way down. He's living in Sheffield these days, and I didn't realise he was on the train actually till about a few minutes later, and then we got together and were chatting. But he's okay. He said he's 12 months away from where he wants to be, but much better than he was a few months ago, obviously. And he's chipper. He's been playing in the league. He's played a couple of matches in the league about a month ago. Made the 70-odd break as well.
6.
But as you said, this is one of the hotbeds of snooker. Even in the 70s, 80s, the likes of Steve Davis, Jimmy White, Tony Mayo, all came here,
7.
played pro-ams. We've got a very, very strong league, and there's good amateurs here. And at one stage, I think, 1 year, we had within here and Scunthorpe, was about 22 miles away, we had 9 professionals in a 22-mile radius. That shows you how strong it was.
Meanwhile, O'Sullivan has played an inexact positional
12.
shot. Didn't intend the cannon on the red. Slightly out of touch so far, but the match has only been going less than a quarter of an hour.
A total contrast to his match last week in Aberdeen, Clive, when he absolutely flew out of the traps.
Sullivan 12.
Was 3-0 ahead against Sean Murphy, was pegged back to 3-2, and in the end, happy to get over the line 4-2. Just got the cue ball beyond the vault line. I can't see Ronnie being tempted with anything here. Up and down with the cue ball, I feel. Well, can he get through to the potting angle here? Well, he can't. He might play one off the other. The red on the right-hand side, this could be a big pocket. Unless he plays the swerve around the blue, which I can't see him doing. Well, this has got to be one off the other here. It might be. Well, no. Apologies, he's gone for the safety. That surprised me.
Well, I think the problem was that playing the top red onto the one nearest the pocket, where was the cue ball going to go?
It wasn't quite on the edge either, was it? Had to be accurate. But he left Stephen one here to get in, I should say.
1.
Yeah, I just thought Ronnie might attack there instead of trying to just lay the safety.
Stephen Hendry, 1.
Well, not an absolute sitter, I guess, from so near the cushion. Nevertheless, the sort of ball that you've got to pot at this level. I think O'Sullivan has got more patience with himself than he used to have. If he pitched up at a match and found that he wasn't playing as he would like to play, he tended to get disheartened very quickly, but he's much more inclined to buckle down and grind it out.
Yeah, he builds himself into matches these days, doesn't he? You're right, Clive. Obviously 5 or 6 years ago, when he was a little bit more impetuous, but he's more mature within himself on the table, much more disciplined.
4.
And at one stage we were thinking he might only just win the 1 world title, but well, he hasn't, of course. He's now won 3, and I think there's a few more in him yet.
Well, depends how much he can sustain
9.
his intensity of desire to play the game.
And
it also depends on the quality of his main opponents.
Well, you don't get any better, and these lads in the Premier League, they're the best of the best.
17.
Oh, that's careless.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 17.
That's the second time he's done that this evening. In the opening frame, he missed a simple pink, concentrating on the angle he was going to leave for the next shot. And blow me,
1.
he did exactly the same.
Yeah, Stephen will pick up on this as well, big time. Some price on Stephen this evening, Clive. 7-1 to win this match. Did you or didn't you?
Well, 7-1 in a 2-horse race,
8.
and when one of the horses has won the world title 7 times, it's got to be worth a punt.
Oh, that's massive, isn't it?
Unfortunately, Hendry's last shot didn't work out as he hoped. Took the cue ball into the
Stephen
bunch.
Hendry, 8.
With every reason to expect that something decent would come out.
He's played a good safety though. He's managed to cover the red down the table. Disappointed, as you can see, not to win the frame there. But the safety was good. Well, again, there was a tempter there to the left corner. Ronnie chose to play the safety, and he hasn't covered the red down the table. Well, Stephen's had a look at the one across the table, and now at this one down the table, and if this goes in, it's bound to be on the black. Great shot.
1.
Perfect cueing.
Hendry still puts in all the necessary work on the practice table.
8.
But like great players before him, he sometimes found it difficult, increasingly so just lately,
9.
to bring his practice form to the match table.
is a predator though, Clive, isn't he? If he gets a sniff that your opponent is in trouble or struggling, he's there.
He's played a pretty decent opening frame.
15.
He's been encouraged by a couple of unexpected O'Sullivan mistakes. And he's getting right back into this frame.
16.
You couldn't describe this as a gilt-edged chance to win it, with 3 of the 4 remaining reds in awkward positions. That's not to say it's impossible.
$21.
Yes, those 2 reds there are the problem. Well, might not be after this
22.
shot. He's got a good angle to stun into them.
With a bit of luck, could move both.
That would be ideal. Well, now then, has he snookered himself? If this black goes onto its own spot, no. Down to the brown, that's okay.
29. 30.
Played very well last week to go 2-0 lead against John Higgins, and then you saw John Higgins go up a gear to 3-2, and really disappointed not to get something. Well, he got a point out of the match, but not to get a win, but in the end settled for the win, I'm sure.
Timeout.
Hendry takes the first of his 5 permitted timeouts.
Feels the blue is the better angle to get onto that red down the table, or this one here. Well, he's left himself a medium range red, I should say, to the green pocket.
35.
It was always going to be blue. He just needed a few more seconds to make up his mind how he was going to play it.
Stephen Hendry, 35.
And that's the luck of the game. That red could have gone anywhere, and it's in fact finished over the pocket.
One.
Well, again, that is the problem. Does he take the blue? Does he take the green? Must leave himself an angle on this last red, though. Well, he did, but he missed the blue.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1.
Yes, it was slightly more difficult than the green, but it offered the better route to position, more certainty of position, but that position has fallen to Hendry.
Only just.
1.
Key shot coming up. Had he missed it, he was leaving a colours clearance for O'Sullivan.
7.
Yeah. How does he get from green to brown, though, Clive? Does he leave this short and go around the angles? Does he come beyond the black? This has got to be perfect. He's gone the other way. He's gone to leave himself
9.
a drop in on the green. That is perfect. Every chance now to win this second frame, make it 2-0.
$12.
Frame ball.
So O'Sullivan
16.
has missed a couple of chances in this frame, as he did in the first.
21. On the
The
frame,
71
Stephen Hendry.
outsider in this two-horse race is leading by 2 frames to 0. Stephen Hendry, 2 up on Ronnie O'Sullivan. Stephen Hendry leads Ronnie O'Sullivan by 2 frames to 0. Sean Murphy v Marco Fu comes later. Meanwhile, O'Sullivan has got to win 4 frames in succession to force a win, 3 out of 4 to force a draw.
Third frame. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Now, Ronnie O'Sullivan's 34th birthday is only 6 weeks away, and I just wonder whether missing a couple of easy balls, as he has in the last couple of frames, is a sign that he's getting just that little bit older, because he's got such fine natural coordination that he's taken a lot of shots for granted. Maybe he can't to the same degree. Hendry's attempted a long pot, fortunately for him, finished safe. Well, Hendry's long game, not how it was when he was in his prime, although he's still pretty good when he gets in close.
Well, that's more like it. Now then, what can we do here? You could see the frustration and the anger in Ronnie as we looked at him in the chair. He's one of those guys that is a perfectionist, and he will not be like in this. He wants to entertain wherever he goes, as yet he hasn't produced. There's not much room there.
4.
Now, in each of the last 2 frames, O'Sullivan had a promising position, but missed an easy ball.
11.
Let's see if he can avoid a similar careless mistake at this opportunity.
$18. $19.
This is the sort of opportunity that Ronnie just wants
26.
to put away in one visit. Just to give him a little lift of confidence. You always have to have one foot on the floor at all times.
27. $34. 35.
When O'Sullivan get into this sort of position, black on spot, plenty of loose reds,
42.
it's usually thank you and goodbye.
43.
Right, just had enough angle to avoid those two reds. Looking at the one to the centre now.
50.
Yes, I'm with you on that one, Clive. Normally would say end of frame. But, well, the form he's been showing just in the last couple of weeks. You never know. Already this evening we've seen
51.
that. One or two easy pots missed, which we expected him to get.
$56. $57.
And for him, taking his time.
$62.
Not perfect, but should still be all right.
Time out.
O'Sullivan takes advantage of his first time out.
Yes, an important moment, I feel, not only in this frame but in the match. Needs to get frames on the board and quickly. Oh, hang on, slow down. It's okay.
63.
Almost went wrong.
This table again is very, very responsive. It's very fast.
70. $71.
So Hendry knows that this frame is gone. And O'Sullivan can concentrate on making a century.
78.
Well, it was a bit awkward, left-handed, bridging over the ball, having to put a bit of pace into it. But with that break of 78, O'Sullivan takes the third frame and reduces Hendry's lead to 2-1. Ronnie O'Sullivan is trailing Stephen Hendry by 2 frames to 1. Sean Murphy versus Marco Fu is the second match this evening.
4. Stephen Hendry to break.
Well, I wonder if Ronnie will take this one as we look at Stephen. Ronnie's looking at this one to the left corner. Everything else this side of the table, left, right hand side I should say, is covered. Well, if that was an attempt at a pot, he was miles away. Wasn't one or the other that. It's either play safe or not too close to the pocket.
One.
Well, O'Sullivan's failed long red has left Hendry right in.
Well, let's just have a look at this again, Clive. In this angle.
8.
I don't know what he was trying. That was a pot. That was a definite attempt at a pot because the red would have been up and down the table a little more.
9.
But he wasn't too close to the pocket.
He's the first to acknowledge that his long game isn't what it was.
$16.
Well, Stephen just nudge off the pack here, open up 1 or 2 more to stay on the black. No, just the drop in.
17.
Good angle to go into them though. Well, lots of top spin, lots of power here. You always have to have a little bit of luck though. Now then, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect.
24. 25.
'Well, he's lost the cue ball there a little.
32.
Well, they didn't have the angle to stay on the black
33.
there. Had to go down for the blue, but as always, the priority is to win the frame first. And this is a great chance here to lead an out of sorts Ronnie O'Sullivan by 3 frames to 1.
Well, Hendry is getting his chances not through his own long potting,
38.
because he's only 29% in that department, but because O'Sullivan's failed long potting is letting him in.
39.
Well, I feel he's going to touch too far with the blue, so taking the yellow instead. Again, slow down. This table is very quick.
41.
It's got the one to the centre. I think he might have just covered the one to the corner.
$42.
Options here, brown or yellow.
$46. $47.
Well, I don't think he will be enjoying this.
52.
Well, within a few shots here, Clive, Ronnie O'Sullivan will have all his work on to get something out of this match. Where is it coming from?
Well, that's what it looks like, Mike. I agree.
60.
No signs this evening with Ronnie's game that he can get himself back into this. Not yet, anyway. Well, again, this is frame ball. The audience realise that. They looked at the scoreboard.
68.
O'Sullivan's fully aware how poorly he's playing by his standards.
Just to make sure, and he's done that. Well played. He's on the black.
69.
Well, Stephen out there to do a job, and so far he's doing that job.
So now the chief point of interest is whether Hendry can make a century.
76.
Well, it's his turn to miss an easy one. But the difference was that in his case it didn't matter. The frame was already secured with a run of 76. Hendry leads by 3 frames to 1. O'Sullivan has got to win the remaining 2 to force a draw. Stephen Hendry sure of at least a draw, but with a 3-1 lead going for a win. Sean Murphy and Marco Fu will follow.
Frame 5. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
I think the big question here, Clive, is how much interest has Ronnie got here to try and get something out of this match?
Well, we've got plenty of supporters, including those young ladies. He'd like to have potted it, but he's happy enough with how it's turned out. O'Sullivan hasn't lost in the Premier League since a 4-2 defeat by Joe Perry last season. Not that it stopped him going on to win the tournament for the 5th consecutive year, and 8th in all.
Where's the cue ball? Oh,
Foul.
He didn't want that in.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 4.
Just got too much action on the cue ball.
Well, if he'd been trying to do it, that would have been some shot.
I think you would have been proud of that one, Clive.
A billiard shot. Wow.
1.
Wow. It's going to cost him, I feel sure.
Now then, can
6.
Ronnie spark into life here? Bring us some of his magic.
7. 14. 15.
'It's a touch further with the cue ball than he would have liked. He should be able to hold the cue ball at this end. Using that red to do so. Now, has he found a gap here to the right corner?
22.
Oh, perfect.
23.
'Well, it's okay. It's still on this red
30.
here to the corner pocket. Slightly awkward cue in for the one on the right hand side.
Time out.
O'Sullivan takes advantage of the second of the 5 timeouts he's permitted.
Well, he's choosing to take this one to the centre. It's very close to the red there. Yes, well played.
31.
That was a delicate one. Yes, well judged this,
36.
Clive. Those are always missable.
37.
'I'm sure he's feeling that I've had enough of this, I'm going to do something about it.
42.
Not as well on his next red as he expected to be.
$43.
That's all right though.
Well, I think he was cueing very well. He would have floated that red in for the black. Chose to hit it a little bit harder and deliver the cue with a touch more pace.
49. 50.
Nice shot. Now, does he have the slide angle just to open these reds up? Well, not much.
$56.
All these arising from a very unlucky Hendry in off.
This time he has left
57.
himself the good angle to split these reds. If he gets this right, this frame is over. That's okay. It's bounced nicely off the top cushion. Well, he needed something, Clive. It looks like he's found it. For one frame, anyway. You'll need the next one also.
64.
Yes, Hendry's unlucky in off gave him a good chance, but he's taken it well. Both players have missed chances for centuries this evening in turn. O'Sullivan breaking down on 78
71.
in the third frame, Hendry on 76 in the fourth.
72.
This is another century opportunity. It would take O'Sullivan's total centuries in match play up to 578.
80.
Chasing Hendry's 736.
87, 88,
meant to come round that.
95.
Yeah, still might have it to the centre.
No century, no extra £1,000, but the 95 break gives him the frame. He still trails though by 3 frames to 2. Two results are possible in this match. If Stephen Hendry wins this last frame, he'll win 4-2. Ronnie O'Sullivan, though, can still force a draw.
Well, I think this is a massive frame for both of them in the context of qualification for the finals weekend. Ronnie, well, I'll say not massive, but more so I think probably for Stephen than it is for Ronnie. If Ronnie wins, which he can't win, of course, now, he would have just about got there, but Stephen looking for the 2 points to put himself in a strong position in the table.
4 of the 7 competitors to qualify for the knockout stages. O'Sullivan already has 5 points from 3 matches. Hendry 3 points from 3 matches, with the certainty of at least 1 more. Still no joy with the long pots though, Mike.
No, that's been Stephen's Achilles heel this evening. Ronnie catched the blue on the way through there, and that was a good chance. 3 or 4 seasons ago, that would have been 100%. But Ronnie, well, now he looks more focused. He knows that he can get something out of this match. Good response in the last frame, considering what's gone before for him.
Yes, a few careless mistakes close in, and not much success with his long potting characterised his play in the earlier frames.
Now, are these 2 reds a plant on the left-hand side here? They've gone together. No, they're just set to the left-hand cushion. Wow, don't know about that one. If he'd have got the pot, he would have avoided everything. Caught it fullish, well, fuller than should have done. And it's clattered into things. He's got a Stephen's got a red here to the green pocket, but he's just taking the time out to give him a little bit more time.
Well, that initial red is so important. Knock it in and you're up and running. Miss it and the chance falls to your opponent.
Time out.
Ronnie's taking a time out now. It's just sounded a bit heavy, that red. I don't know whether Stephen got a kick. He looked a bit disappointed. It did sound very heavy when he hit it. Just have a quick look at this. Well, there wasn't really much there, I feel.
It's going to take some development skills here for O'Sullivan to score substantially, because the pink is tied up, the black is tied up.
4.
And he's overdone the position on this red as well.
5. Eight.
No. Well, the pink does go, but he'll be disturbing it even more here. Well, now it's in the open. That's a good shot.
9.
They're still not in easy positions though, Clive. There's only just the
Time
one
out.
open. There's the one below the pink that he's now looking at. But as you said, this a lot of hard work needed here to make anything substantial. Now, is he on this red behind the pink?
It would be a very good one to
14.
get rid of, because the pink would then go to the left corner.
He's on that. Yep, absolutely. He's having to work these,
15.
but he's at the table, and while he's at the table, he's still got a chance of winning this frame and gaining a point.
And in this sort of situation, it's not only
Time
playing
out.
the
Good
shots,
for more use now, Ronnie.
but knowing the moves. So that's the last time out that O'Sullivan can claim. He's had his 5.
He's just come a little straight on this pink. He wanted some angle to get into them. Now, I think there's one at the back of the bunch there. He's just dropping in 4. Yes, he's on that. That's okay. But as you've seen, the black is tied up, and now the pink tied up again.
21.
Go down for the blue here. In fact, I think the pink will
22.
just go to this left corner.
$27. $28.
Nicely held for the pink to the centre. Well, it'll go to both corners now. It didn't go to the right, but it definitely went to the left. But and Ronnie has just gradually got these in good position. He's played these very well so far.
Exhibiting
35.
not only his snooker skill, but his snooker brain.
Got to say, and his patience.
41. 42.
Well, well, well.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 42.
Well, maybe it wasn't quite his orthodox bridge, but by his standards, never should have missed it.
Oh, just too many of those this evening, I'm afraid. Oh dear, he's catching.
Well, that was a great chance for Hendry to get back into this frame, or at least start to get back into it.
One.
No more timeouts.
6.
Well played. He's got one eye on the table here and one eye on the clock. Well, would you believe it?
Well,
12. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 12.
unlucky to go through those 4 reds without disturbing anything. He returns to his seat, 54 in front.
Brown and yellow, a big target though. That's a great shot. Excellent. Ronnie's coming off. 2 cushions here, possibly 3. Looks good. Doesn't want this to be a touching ball. He hasn't quite got the snooker. Ronnie can see one of these reds. In fact, he might be able to see both of them. He can. He's taken the right on one.
Good time to find his form with a long pot.
1.
There haven't been many of those on either side this evening.
Yes.
6.
Stephen already needing snookers, but frame over if this goes in. Well, it struggled, but it went in. Well, at 3-1 behind, well, Stephen was 3-1 the lead, of course. Ronnie O'Sullivan was looking out of this match. And he's done terrifically well to find something from somewhere.
Foul. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 7. Stephen Hendry, 7.
Well, Stephen Hendry led 3-1, but credit to Ronnie O'Sullivan for the way that he won the last 2 frames, largely through a run of 95 in the 5th and a well-worked 42 in the 6th. 3-all was the result.
Welcome back to the partycasino.com Snooker Premier League. Here's our matches tonight. We've just seen the Rocket and defending champion Ronnie O'Sullivan draw with 7 times world champion Stephen Hendry 3-all. As you can see, next up Sean Murphy against Mark Ophir. But that draw for the boys means this is how the Premier League table currently stands, with 1 match left tonight. Ronnie on top and Stephen sitting proud in 2nd place. John Higgins, Judd Trump not in action tonight. I'm glad to say the boys are with me. I'll start with you, Stephen. I'm guessing there are aspects from both of you actually that won't be happy with that match, but from a spectator's point of view, it's just a great game of snooker.
Yeah, I thought I was just terrible tonight.
Is this your Ronnie O'Sullivan impression?
No, well, I mean, yeah. Both of us missed balls. Both of us made break. Both should have had a century break. But yeah, it's probably a good game to watch. But yeah, obviously 3-1 up, you want to win. But I didn't really get a great chance the last 2 frames. So yeah, 3-all's pretty fair.
You had a chance of a maximum. You had to sort of stun a red into the middle and take a blue. Were you thinking 1-4-7?
Absolutely. But absolutely played a shot that you would be proud of positionally wise.
That says something. Ronnie, I'll bring you in at the moment. How was your form? Were you happy with that?
Obviously, you know, the first couple of frames, the 2nd frame I had a chance to win that frame, and when I went 2-0 down, I was just, you know, a draw was a good result for me. But more importantly, I was pleased how I felt over the shot. In, you know, a few of the frames towards the end, I felt a bit more like I could get, you know, let the cue go and be a bit more aggressive, if you like. And but I think that's playing Stephen. You know, he looks so good around the table, and the way he plays the game, the way everybody would love to play the game, that you just kind of sometimes get inspired. And I think I need to play Stephen a bit more, just to feel like I want to play, you know, because some of these other players I play, I'm just like, I think I'm falling asleep.
Don't name them, Ronnie, don't name them. You've both got a few games left now in the Premier League. You're first, you're second. I'll start with you, Stephen. As things stand, you've got to be happy with the way things look.
I don't know. No, I said before tonight I probably need 2 wins out of 3 to qualify. I probably still need 2 wins. Maybe a win and a draw would get me in.
Okay, we're going to see you in Preston next week. You're playing Sean Murphy.
In about 3 weeks, I think you'll find.
No, it's next week.
Is it really?
Yes.
You sure about that?
I'm 100%.
I need to check my diary.
Ronnie, I think you've got the week off. You don't think you're playing?
No, yeah, I've got a week off, which is good, and you know, I look forward to my next game. So, but the crowd have been fantastic this night. We you know, a good crowd.
They have indeed. And do you know what? You guys have been great as well. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Stephen Hendry and Ronnie O'Sullivan, everyone. Thanks, guys. Pretty sure Stephen is playing next week. I'll check it, but I'm 99%. We're going to have a quick break. When we come back, more of the same. We'll see you in a bit.